Hey, good morning, everybody. Give me a one if I'm coming in good because I had to eliminate that other live stream. I had to delete it. It was so bad. I didn't realize it was that bad. Thank y'all for pointing that out. Shout out to the NTZ crew. That's Jacob Tanjay. Okay, Jacob, thank you. Appreciate it, man. All of my old heads. Doubtful Genius, Alexander, Steve Michael Alexander, all of my fourth quarter members. There's Jep Retada. What's up, Raymond? Appreciate y'all, man. Any new viewers and subscribers joining today, welcome. What's up, Roger? I came on early because we got to get checked out when we got them because we're moving to a new location closer to Mall of Asia. Actually, within walking distance of Mall of Asia. I wanted to get out of this area, yeah. Get out of the wild. What's up, Sam McCall? I don't know if that gentleman reached out to you yet. Shout out to Frank and Joe. I met them in Manila on my walk. They're both followers of my channel, man. Joe's a cool guy. He told me, he said, Cal, warn your guys in Manila. He said he got somebody roofied his drink. He was very fortunate because if you look on the community page on that picture, he's bigger than me, and I think that's what saved him because it didn't hit him right away. It wasn't until he got back to his condo and the woman told him that there was a woman, his girlfriend or whatever was waiting at the room, and she told him, said, yeah, you had to, two guards had to carry you up to the room, and he was throwing up everywhere. And so, thanks for sharing that information. What's up, Greg Williams? Anybody catching this on replay? The peso is 58.89, which it had gotten up to 59.45. It set another record. Someone told me that Coach Greg Adams is here in Manila. If any of his followers are on this channel, let him know if he's anywhere near Mall of Asia more. I'd like to meet him, man, He's a great guy. He got some great content. What's up, Jabraz? Everybody, I really appreciate it. We got a topic today. The mean streets of Manila. Struggle is real. I just want to talk a little bit about that. We did finally go to have the DNA test, man. It's a long process because, they're checking all your paperwork and, we were the last people. So it's like 3 other families in front of us. We got up at 5 a.m. We had to be at St. Luke's at 7, go through all that rigmarole, then go to the embassy and sit there and wait for 3 hours. Booby really did good. She didn't cause any problems. What's up, 6'9"? Because we couldn't eat. All we could do is drink water. And they do 4 swabs. 2 on each side, and they keep going for about, a minute on each side to get a good sample. So I feel good about it, man. It's a weight off my shoulders, and, just to get that behind me, man, unless you've been through it, see, it's generally a simple process. That's why I don't want to make y'all think that it's not. It really is. If you got all the requirements, make sure your girlfriend or wife has all her prenatal records. Certainly the ultrasound. You're not going to have any problems. But if you come up short like we did, they're going to send you through that DNA. Now, if we lived in Manila, it would have been no problem. Because one good thing about Manila It's all the government agencies. All their main offices are here in Manila. That's why we were able to get Booby's birth certificate. See, they hit us with that. You know, in the email, the embassy requires certain documents, and then St. Luke requires certain documents. You know, over here in the Philippines, man, that's strict. The embassy said an ID for Booby. They want the birth certificate. Luckily, we're in Manila. But okay. Yeah, we're gonna be over there today, Raymond. Hey, Icy, welcome to the chat. But they go through all of that, man, rigmarole, and it's a simple process that normally you don't even pay any more than $200 for. But then, of course, you got to come to the embassy. And so what it normally is 10,000 pesos has cost me over 100,000. Because remember, we came here in, I want to say, August or September, either late August, early September, for her CRBA. We was here a week. Grab is a bitch here, man. You need Grab here. There ain't no getting around Grab. If I was gonna live in Manila, I'd have to learn how to ride the bus. I couldn't afford it, man. I'm spending about anywhere from close to 1,000 pesos a day on Grab. Depending on where you're going, man. You know. Yeah, hit the like button, guys. Show me some support. We got to try to break through whatever's going on with my channel, man. It's really discouraging. I'm just telling you, man, that go look at my subscriptions. They just won't go up. They won't move. Something's going on, guys. It's not, you know, YouTube is taking me off the radar. Excuse me. But yeah, you're talking about Grab, you're talking about Airbnb, you're talking about food, travel, everything. The DNA, it's just, but I would have spent $1 million to get it over with, to get through with it. Because now when I look at Booby, now I just know she's got an option. They're not going to mess that DNA up. Okay, they're going to get that right. I'm not even worried about that. Yeah, hit the like button. He says, I'm in the U.S. My son is in the fields. I'm starting the paternity process here. Get his Filipino birth certificate, read on Filipino side, then the U.S. side. Well, you know, what you have to do is you got to do the CRBA, Jabras. There's no getting around that. You know, it's more than the birth certificate. You can't get a U.S. birth certificate. All you got to do, if you have a child over here, the first step in the whole process is make sure you sign that birth certificate. That's the first step. And once you do that, you can start that consular report of birth abroad, which is you got to apply for their citizenship. They don't just give it to you automatically. And it's simple. It really is simple. It's not that many questions. They want pictures of you and your wife or girlfriend before she was pregnant, during the pregnancy, after. Her prenatal records. Okay, because they're trying to establish a real relationship and your parentage. Yeah, Booby's birth certificate. That fast. Yeah, it was less than, we wasn't there 20. I'm not going to lie to you. We probably wasn't there, I'm going to say 30 minutes. We wasn't there 30 minutes. And we got it. Because when you're in Manila, everything is here. And that saved us, man. You know, because the Philippines is so strict. You know, they're wanting, okay, St. Luke's, because they're wanting the request letter for the DNA. They're wanting it. The U.S. Embassy already has it. They supposedly had sent it to me, but they didn't. They only sent me the email. That's not good. You got to give us that. Well, I got to send it to St. Luke's. It's not going to stop the process, but it's crazy, man. I'm just glad y'all just don't know the weight that's been lifted off my shoulders, man. Yeah. See, once you get the CRBA, then you can proceed and get the Social Security number, and then, of course, Booby's benefits. See, I want all my kids to get my benefits. Okay, you're thinking of Manila or the Subic Bay area, yeah. Well, a lot of Americans are in Subic Bay. Well, it is an expensive process. You have to, see, I don't live in Manila. We live in Negros Occidental. You at least got to catch a plane. That's a round trip. To go, round trip. Then you got to stay here. But the test kits itself was $750. They put me and Maryland together. That was $575. Then Booby by herself, $175. What's up, Gerald? So the best thing to do is to have all your ducks in a row when you go to do that. You know, you won't deal with it. I just wasn't going to quit. You know, that lady, she says, oh, do you have a sonograph? Yeah, we got a sonograph, lady. We give it to her. That's not good enough. You know, so I just wanted to go like this to them. Like, you're not going to stop me, lady. What's up, Sheldon? What's up, Q? We're having a good time here now. I feel that all my money's worth it. All the time, all the effort, all the expense is worth it now because the DNA test is done. If we wouldn't have been able to do that DNA test, man, I'd be depressed right now. I'd be depressed. But it just feels, so now, you know, these last 3 days, hell, we can be on vacation. But I like it here in Manila. Like I said, you know, it has a lot of drawbacks. We're going to talk about some of them today, but it does have a lot of positives, man. You know, you can talk about the city of Manila, then Metro Manila. They're two different places. Because they're saying on Google that the city of Manila only has 2 million people. But Metro Manila, they're saying 13 million. But who are you going to listen to? Some people say 20 to 25 million. That's who I believe. He said the Philippines put these red tape in place just to slow down the process and create unnecessary chaos. Just another reason I couldn't live there. I don't know. I just know that you got to dot your I's and cross your T's, you know, and remember, just be happy, W Secrets of Success, wherever you go, because I'm happy here. I don't have to deal with it all the time. I deal with very little of the stuff that people complain about, and you will too. You won't have to deal with this stuff, man. You know, it's just something to talk about. You're going to be exempt from a lot of this stuff. I don't know why y'all get so excited about it. You don't have to deal with no red tape over here, man. You know, it's just, you know, it's just a reminder that you're not at home anymore. Hey, Greg Williams, thanks for that super sticker. I appreciate your support. Yeah, it's actually 16 cities that make up Metro Manila. Quezon City is one of them, which is the largest, 3 million. But you got Valenzuela, Taguig, you know, so many of them. Marikina, I remember some of them, Navotas or something. Paranaque, it's just, I got them down here. Makati, of course, Las Piñas, that's where Raymond lives. What else? Caloocan, Mandaluyong, I think that's where Richie Rich lived. Pasay. See, these places are so close together because, see, we're going to be staying in Pasay today. but it's not even far from here. But they consider the city. No, it don't matter, Q, whether you're married or not. That doesn't matter. You've been asking me about this, so I've been trying to tell you to. Let me say it slow to you. Sign the birth certificate. Have pictures of you and your wife before the pregnancy, during the pregnancy, after the pregnancy. Have all of her prenatal records. Okay? And you're not going to have a problem. I've done it twice before. Are you listening? I've done it twice before. It's no big deal. It is no hassle unless you don't have all the requirements. You know what the lady said to us yesterday? And this is what made me so angry. The Filipino nurse said this when she asked Booby's birthday. She said, oh, a pandemic baby. See, they understand that there was problems with, children being born during that time and not having all the requirements and everything. Certainly the ultrasound. You couldn't go back and forth to the doctor. But the embassy wasn't trying to hear that. A lot of the people in the embassy, they're with that old, the scamdemic and all that stuff. They're saying that it didn't occur. Well, the lockdowns occurred. It doesn't matter whether you believe that the pandemic was real. The lockdowns were real. In Maryland, we couldn't leave the house. Okay? He said, it's some 15s in Manila, Unc. I had to put the sunglasses on. Absolutely. Man, we're right up the street from Robinson, Ermita. It's just a mall full of women. If they let me in there with my camera, that's what I would make. There's nothing but women in there. There's very few men. I'm like, well, where are the men? And we've been in there 4 or 5 times since we've been here, maybe more than that. I mean, I'm talking about from the 1st floor to the 6th floor. It's just a sea of women. There's no men. I guess the men are at work and different places. What's up, Sicaria? No, I got a banger later that I'm going to do, that I'm going to upload. Called I Told Y'all So. A lot of these men are experiencing problems with these women, but I already told y'all. But you don't listen. Y'all in a hurry. Your pants is on fire. Well, I told you so. I warned y'all. And now you're paying the consequences. Okay? That's going to be my video today. See, I'm going to take my gloves off, see. Now that Booby's got her situation, I don't care. Let the haters come. Let them deport me if they want to. But it really isn't anything bad against Filipinos or anything. I'm just saying that I just feel freer now, man. Y'all don't know the burden that was on me. I got to get my daughter that citizenship. I can't leave her over here. Y'all seen Gail, but it's just not Gail. It's thousands and thousands of children and adults now who have just been left over here. Men are coming over here, laying with women, man, and just aren't being responsible. But yeah, I told y'all, I warned y'all. That's going to be the banger today. Raymond said, when Booby looks back on your video, she'll have a great appreciation for all you did to get her citizenship. Yeah, I was telling Merlin that. Because Booby's been out of school for 2 weeks. I'm like, okay, so what? This is more important. You're going to look back on this and you're going to be glad we sacrificed that 2 weeks out of school. Booby's so far ahead of those kids in her class anyway. They're on addition right now. Booby's been adding for months already. I'm not bragging because it's my daughter. I'm just saying. Booby is far past them people, those other kids in her class. Hey, Sakara, thanks for that super chat. He said, goal for me is to move to Nairobi, Kenya, live 9 months or 3 months in the Philippines. I mean, the U.S. Philippines sounds good, but I don't think I can take the humidity. Well, right now, from about right now, Sicaria, and to the end of January, the weather's going to be good. Okay, it's going to be very low humidity. You're going to get some breeze. This happens every year. I've noticed this. Um, and you're going to love it. The weather's perfect. Did you see the video I did yesterday? It started raining a little bit, but other than that, now today it's supposed to go up to 90. He said, Cal, you're still near Makati. Check out the National Museum. It's near the Greenbrier area, near the mall. Yeah, we're going to be in Moore. We're going to be around that area. I just wanted to kind of have a vacation feel for the last 3 days, to, get this nervous energy off of me. Just like he said, calm down, Cal. He said the hard part is over and keep those white gloves on. Yeah, you're right. Now I can, calm down. I can, breathe. I was just waiting to exhale, man, because they were giving me more problems than what, it was worth, really. He said, Uncle, did you hear they announced Shedeur Sanders as a starter for the rest of the season? What a joke. Yeah, they messed that whole situation up. But see, this is a point where what you're seeing, living, and experiencing, they'll tell you you're not seeing, living, and experiencing. This is the one thing that frustrates me the most about America. Now, everybody, they want you to think, they want they want us to think that we're stupid. That man, that coach doesn't like Shedeur, and he's not sabotaging Shedeur. He is. Okay? You don't take the man off the field with the game on the line. You're trying to evaluate him. You're trying to see, does he got it? Does he got what it takes? He's already thrown 2 touchdowns in the red zone, Kevin Stefanski. And you're going to take him out and run some gimmick play that's not going to work. I mean, that's the kind of shit that bothers me, man. Okay, yeah. I'm going to the Shell residence. That's where I'm going, Maurice. That's where we're going. And that's what makes me mad. They don't understand why so many people are behind Shedeur Sanders, because we know he was effed over. We know he was a victim of the system. We know that the NFL colluded against him. The man was a first-round draft pick. Should have went first overall, and you're going to let him slide all the way down to the 5th round. See, we're tired of that. Now they trying to make it seem like, oh, y'all just you're fanatics. No. We're tired of that bullshit over there, man. No, never was Dylan Gabriel better than Shedeur Sanders. Not when he was born, not in high school, not in college, certainly not in the pros. Okay? Yeah, it's collusion. And you get tired of that stuff, man. I mean, it's obvious you can see it. He said, just getting off the proverbial hamster wheel. Glad I could catch up with everyone. Weather in Houston was fat, man, friendly. Yeah. 70 with clear skies. But here's the problem. I get a lot of pushback, Texas, man, from people in Texas. Oh, it's just as hot in Texas. Maybe it is in the summer. And the humidity is just as high. But in the Philippines, this is the only time you really get a break. We don't get a break. There's no winter. Okay? You can't, I don't care if you live in South Florida. Yeah, of course it is. Of course it is. He said the NFL is political and rigged. Yeah, officially. It is. I promise you, man. And this is what people don't like. But all we can do is complain because we don't own any teams. We don't own shit over there. They'll give you money. They ain't going to give you no power. You're not going to be able to own anything. So all we can do is sit back and complain. And then they'll sit back and tell you, they call that gaslighting. It's not real. Everybody can see that they screwed the man over. But guess what? He's playing for the love of the game. Shedeur Sanders has so much money, man. Okay, he's already He earned more money in the NIL than anybody else in college. Now he's got these Nike contracts. There's no telling what other endorsements he's got, man. He's got that damn thing there. He created that. That's like a national symbol now. Who isn't doing this? You can't stop that, man. You can't stop it. But they tried to. Don't you realize that Cleveland sorry ass wouldn't have drafted him? He was going to go undrafted. Oh man, it makes me mad just thinking about it. I don't. That's why I stay away from a lot of subjects. Okay, I don't need that over here at my age. Hey Anthony, thanks for that super chat. He said, "What's up, Sunshine Shoulders? Sunshine Shoulders community. Finally caught your live stream. Keep the boots on the ground. Content coming. I hope Shador gets better in the NFL. Me too. I just want to see him beat the damn system. They done got on my nerves, man. I'm not gonna tell you, but they'll tell you. Yeah, not when he was born. He was never better than Shador Sanders. But imagine they wasted 6 games on him, man. He's like Booby. Him and Booby's about the same size. You know. What's up, Elette? She's another Houston resident, but she never talks about it's hotter in Houston than the Philippines because she lived over here. She knows. He said when Shador Sanders contract comes up in 3 years, if I was him, I'm going to the highest bidder. Yeah, F. Cleveland. Yeah, see, Cleveland's got a chance to do something special by him not only being on a rookie contract, but he's on a 5th round rookie contract. They can build a monster around Shador. They got the money. Don't make the same mistakes. It's just that organization is dysfunctional, though. They cannot evaluate quarterbacks. If you're going to tell me, they keep saying, oh, he's a 2-time coach of the year. Well, he shouldn't have been. Like you said, it's political and it's rigged because if you are 2-time coach of the year and you can't see that Shador Sanders, you're watching it every day in practice, and you can't see that Shador Sanders is better than Dylan Gabriel, dude, I don't want you as my coach. I don't want you evaluating nothing. As a matter of fact, don't evaluate nothing. Yeah, he said the Shell residence is nice, and the Mall of Asia is so close. I loved it. Yeah, that's what I wanted to do. Just give us this last 3 days of like a vacation because we've really been on edge, man. I can't sleep. People playing with me, playing with my daughter, man, And here's the problem that I have. These cocksuckers know. Ask Maryland. Yesterday we're in there, getting the paperwork and stuff. Well, guess what the consular embassy officer is what they call them. Guess what she kept doing? Calling people in there, telling them how much Booby looks like me. And sitting there looking at me and Booby. Knowing, what are you doing in here taking a DNA test, dude? That's your daughter. Yeah, well, that's y'all's old jacked up rules. Okay? Well, we brought it on ourselves, Icy, really. The procedure is really, really simple. I did it twice before. It's so simple. But if you don't have all the requirements, they're looking to turn you down. They don't want to, but they're looking to turn you down if you're just missing one little thing. Yeah, it's fixed. It's fixed. It's fixed as far as that's concerned. And then they try to tell you that there's no problem, that Kevin Stefanski doesn't have a problem with Shador. Yeah, right. We don't know, but see, the problem is, Frank, whatever reason they're giving for him falling that far is bogus. You got to realize some of the guys who've been, look at Johnny Manziel, but not just, I'm talking about worse than him. What was the running back? He's dead now, from Nebraska. That Talent is what gets you drafted in the NFL, not all that other stuff. What's his name? The running back. He got drafted by the St. Louis Rams. He's dead now. He eventually went to prison. He was from Nebraska, guys. He was, Lawrence something was his name. Hey, I love you back, she says. I'm working, but I passed through to give a thumbs up. Thank you, Elect. We got to do something to cut through the bullshit. Yeah, this is what makes me so mad, man. We'll get on one side or the other, man. America's so split. It's always been split since the Civil War. It's never come back together. But if they want us to come together, all they got to do is do some false flag like 9/11 or Vietnam War or something like that, and people come together. That's how they get you to come together. What's up, Don? I saw where they had a shooting at Kentucky State, which is crazy. Young boy got killed, I think. The man that killed him, I think his son or daughter was having problems. I think he came up there to back the daughter up and started shooting. Yeah, let him out, man. Let him out, because it's a shame what he's doing. Here's a man who balled out, who played his heart out, guys. And there's no reason for you to take him out for a damn. I don't care how many times you run that. What they call that play, where the running back's in the back. I don't care how many times you run it. You reward your quarterback who put you on his back and brought you back and give you a chance to win. And by the way, let me remind you, you're supposedly evaluating him to see if he's got what it takes to be the franchise quarterback. And you take him out time after time after time again. Y'all have to remember in the Rams game preseason, the 2-minute warning, they take Shadua out and they put Huntley in, who's been an NFL quarterback for how many years, a backup quarterback. Was like a first or second round pick in his day, was a starter with the Baltimore Ravens. You didn't need to see anything about him. He said, if I can find remote work, I can move over there another 10 years before I turn 65. There's a guy that comes on here. He never has reached back out to me. He was going to talk about remote work. Because there's a few guys over here that I know personally who are working remotely, man. They got it good. Taj is one of them, but he's in his early 40s. He's got a good job. He said in summers in Texas, it's hotter than the Philippines, but the winters can get really bad. 2021, the entire state froze. Yeah, it was below zero for a week. Yeah, it just depends, man. When did you come over here, Raymond? Because you got to be here from March to May, and then tell me if it's hotter. It's hot over here. Hot is hot. I mean, it gets so hot that, like, what's up, Cisco? You ain't even trying to compare. You're just trying to get off the street. Okay? It's so hot, man, when you see people carrying around umbrellas and shit over here. I mean, it's really, really hot here in the Philippines. Yeah, well, they don't have to. You don't understand. They don't have to pay two quarterbacks. They only under contract with Deshaun Watson for one more year. Okay? Shadua Sanders is on a 5th round rookie contract. You do understand what that means, don't you? They're paying him the rock bottom minimum. So they're not paying two quarterbacks. Yeah, he said they left Notre Dame out of there. Tulane's in there, though, I saw. Yeah, Joe Flacco. Now, here's the problem that you know that the NFL is rigged and it's political. All the quarterbacks that the Indianapolis Colts could call back, and they call a 44-year-old Phillip Rivers back? Come on, man. They're going to put him on their roster. This is what I don't like about America, man, okay? This is what I don't like about America. It's time that people start pushing back against the bullshit, man. You're going to come. Don't you realize that his oldest son is older than Shador? You know, it's crazy. But we're supposed to sit around and act like, oh, nothing's going on. What's up, Marlon? Thanks for that super chaser. Houston in the house. Yeah, I got a lot of, I promise the next time I go to America, I'm going to Houston. We're going to have a meet and greet. Not yet. That just because they're doing that to hype up the headlines. They know that's a long process. That senator that put that on the table, he knows it's not going to get passed. He just wants you to, get some people riled up. But I see where Trump did delete 85,000 visas. This is for his base, man. Y'all know it's not going to change anything. It's not going to make people smarter or anything like that. Just give them a victory. Yeah, it would protect the children too, because that's really what it's about. It's really about the children. It's not about the fathers. Certainly when you're having a child over here, man. We're going to talk about the struggle over here, man. You guys don't understand. Until you come to a place like Manila, it's all around, but you're certainly going to see it here. If you're an American, a Canadian, French, or anybody, and you had a child over here, and you just left them over here, basically in the care of the system over here, man, the universe is watching, man. You got yours coming. I mean, you come to Manila, man, and you see, these little kids wandering around, man, on their own. Let me tell you something, man. When I came over here, when I met my son's mother in 2010, she told me that how do these kids why are they out here just wandering around? Where are their mothers? Guess what she said? She said some women just drop their kids off and keep going because they can't take care of them. I'm not saying all of them do that, but a lot of cases. So you see little kids and then they band together and they roam the streets. You would be shocked, man. You would be shocked. Why would you want to do that? Because you worried about child support. That's the type of matrix thinking we got. It's the children you should be worried about. Okay, the people who are paying for somebody else's child is the exception. It's not the rule. The rule is that most of us men should be paying child support because they are our children. And now then, not only do we don't want to pay child support, but we want to tell the woman what to do with the money. Just pay the child support and get on about your business. I don't have children. Okay, I'll stay with the woman. And then you can be miserable and you can see where the money's going. Okay, other than that, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it, man. It's time for men to be men again. Do I need to repeat that? Some of us are so damn soft, man, and so damn weak. We don't want to do nothing. We've been carrying the weight of the world on our shoulders. Get stronger. Get better. Quit bitching all the damn time. You put yourself in a position where you paying for somebody else's child support. You doing that to yourself. That's why I'm going to let you have it on this next video. I'm going to make it today. I told you so. Some of you guys are getting flipped upside down by these women when there's no reason to. You're giving all your power away. What you doing? She's got power already. Her youth, her looks, and that negotiator between her legs. You got your power is your money, your influence, the opportunities that you represent, the visa, the new life, and all that. But if you give it all away to her now, she's got all the power. And anything that even resembles a fair playing field is gone out the window. It's not going to end well. Okay? It's not going to end well. And then you all up in my email, all up in my messenger, all up in my WhatsApp. And I done already told you for 5 years. Yeah, I don't want to hear it. Yeah, Lawrence Phillips, thank you, brother. It's my homeboy here. Now, you going to tell me Shador was worse than him? Okay? You tell me Shador was worse than Johnny Manziel? Which the same Cleveland team chose Johnny Manziel. Which he was never an NFL quarterback. They're trying to compare a Tebow to Shador. No, you should have been comparing Tebow to Johnny Manziel. Shador's a real quarterback. But this is the kind of nonsense that they feed you. And they want you to believe it. Crazy. Yeah, let's get the thumbs up, guys. Yeah, it was on national news, yeah. And yeah, the Wildcat. And then another thing that happened, okay, a father gets killed in the Bojangles parking lot. His daughter gets into it with the manager. He comes up there to take up for his daughter, and the manager kills him. I'm like, why are these people able to carry guns on the job like that? Yeah, the Wildcat. Yeah, this is what I'm saying. This is bullshit. I see. You know how many quarterbacks that they could call, even that are playing now, that are languishing on somebody's bench, they could make a trade for? They're going to call him back at 44 years old? Bullshit, man. Bullshit. You know, I'm just saying the point of it is there's no way they should be calling him back. You know, look at Joe Flacco. He's done. You know, a broke clock is right twice a day, Cisco. And that's what's the case with Joe Flacco. He had a couple of good games. He said, they're still offering me remote work on LinkedIn. No thanks. Yeah, I'm done. I'm done. He said, mango wine. Yeah, you know, Bernie Kosar was pretty popular too. Leroy Kelly. He said, have you met regular guy? What do you think about his channel? I met him before. He stayed in the guest house, but this was before his channel really blew up. I think he tells a good story, man. You know, it's just that a lot of his live streams, man, he goes off, man. He's been going off lately. Certainly with this white privilege stuff. I can't, I'm sorry, I can't. I won't watch him again because of that. Tell me, why do you think everybody's trying to come to the white country? And he says because white people are the ones who know how to build great countries. You took every damn thing, you fool. Don't you know history means something? You stole everything from everybody. You know, but he's talking about, you know, I mean, I don't know if he was drunk or whatever he was. It don't matter to me. I mean, I don't have anything personal against him. But when you start talking about that, and then you're not backing it up with receipts, it's just what you think. You know, facts don't seem to matter. Fuck that shit, man. You know, but yeah, he stayed at the guest house. You know, I guess he's okay. I don't know him. but I let him stay at my guest house. And I like the videos that he makes. He's a good storyteller, Him and there's another guy, Poor Man's Passport Guy. But when you start talking that white supremacy stuff, I can't deal with it. I'm going to push back. Although I don't comment on people's live streams and stuff like that. I don't do it because it's just going to give somebody a reason to see my name and then start fooling with me. See, I didn't come into my fourth quarter and my retirement for that. I'll let people say what they want to say. But when he starts talking that stuff, I can't listen to it. Yeah. Almost 1 week to retirement, right? Oh, okay. I thought you was talking about you. Oh, Cisco, yeah, okay. Cisco is almost you retiring this month, right? Cisco? Yeah, he said, Mr. Gregory Mitchell, do the right thing. It's not too late. Yeah, because Gail's struggling over here, man. And she don't have to be. Gail is a very intelligent woman, you know. But under the circumstances, man, this system will squash you, man. You need some support. You ain't gonna make it on your own over here. But people in America, we just don't really understand the political system. We just go by what people tell us. We don't read. We don't do any research on our own. They think that somebody on food stamps or AFDC is the problem, or immigrants are the problem. That's not the problem, guys. It's the people in power. They've always been the problem. Yeah, yeah. It's called passion. Why don't you try it, Chris Gower? It's called passion. Okay, that's the reason I'm sitting here. I was able to retire at 55. Probably could have retired at 50. Okay, I'm not no joke. If you don't pat yourself on the back, don't wait for somebody else to do it. Not nowadays. They're not gonna do it. Okay. They ain't too many. When they created me, they threw away the mold. Same as with you. We're all unique in our own way. But yeah, it's just so many. He said, I've seen so many homeless kids. That's why I'm doing gift bags for them. Yeah, it's just not enough, but I'm glad you're doing something, which is why I tell people all the time, you can't help everybody. That's no excuse not to try to help somebody, some people. And you're going to make their day, the kids that you do, but just make sure that you got enough bags in the area that you're going. Yeah, now the way that they come up with that, I don't know because I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a judge. He says, yeah, but what child needs 50,000 of money in child support? If I was rich, I'd be pissed off. But see, this is hypothetical stuff, and you got to understand. If you give a child a certain life, I know they go by a percentage of your earnings, which it should be. These are your children. Okay? We always try to look as if we're the victim. The child is the victim. You're a grown man. You don't think about that stuff, Sakaria. When you lay down with the woman, you don't understand that the woman that you're laying down with right now, that you're laying next to in the bed, is one day going to be your worst enemy. I said this a long time ago. You should already have a prenup from the beginning when things are good, when you can agree on stuff. I don't know what's going on with this camera. Doesn't that make sense? To go on and iron something out right now while y'all still lovey-dovey? Because in the end, you're not going to be able to agree on nothing. You say the sky blue, she's going to say it's green. No matter what you do, she's going to say you ain't done nothing. And no matter how good you treat her, she's going to say, oh, he mistreated me. So get it all ironed out in the beginning when things are good. But you're not going to do it. That's what I'm going to talk about today. I'm taking the gloves off. Okay, he said, we're trying to be there for our anniversary. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make sense. She's got power already. People always say, oh, it's a level playing field, fair exchange. Well, if you give her, if it's like this, and then you put everything over here, now it goes like this. Okay, she got all the power. And there's something, see, a lot of times what happens over here, now I'm not going to give it away. Just wait. But this is why we need to slow down. We're our worst enemy. And then we try to blame it on everybody else. Oh, the child support system. The woman. Yeah, you're going to spend the money one way or the other. He said, just lay the damn child support. Just pay the child support. You're going to spend the money one way or the other. Do the right thing. Been there and done that. And happy to say I took care of that baby girl that looks just like me. And this is what I was telling Marilyn today. I promise you. I said, all the money that I'm going to spend on Booby, on a college tuition for Sahara, okay, it's money well spent. I can see where my money's going. I'm going to spend the money anyway. I'm going to spend the money anyway. Why not do something that's going to literally break the cycle of poverty in this family? You're talking about now you got a girl that's a U.S. citizen. You got one that's got a nurse's degree. You're out of that. That was mine. What are you looking for? Out here. You see my stuff, right? You're in pretty good damn shape now. Okay? But you're going to spend the money anyway. I've already spent that kind of money, wasted it. Hey, thank you, Anthony. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. Dude, don't come on my channel with that foolishness. Go on those other channels. Don't play with me. I'm a grown man. You guys are stupid. No, he wasn't the real deal. His skill set never was going to transition to the NFL level. He was too small. He didn't throw. You're not going to keep running the ball in the NFL. You got to be able to throw it downfield. Yeah. He said, famous quote, when a person with money crosses a person with experience, the person with the experience gets the money, and the person with the money gets some experience. This is how women win. Or we just give everything away, and they win. Okay, we're so weak. This is one thing that I can tell you, man, that you see that Sharon Moore, is that his name? The coach. See, men are losing everything, not just in the Philippines, everywhere, even in America. He done threw away the bag, just like, what's his name, on Nightcap, Shannon Sharp. He done threw all that away for some little bitty young chick. He's married already, by the way, with 3 children. We're our own problem. You can't blame that on the board, at University of Michigan and all of that. Sharon Moore was his own problem. He threw away all that money, and now they're saying, yeah, we barred you with cause, so we don't owe you anything. The $14 million buyout, but he'll probably get some of that. I'm pretty sure he'll get a good lawyer. Okay, but that's what it is. That's how women win. Because we give it all away to them. We give all the power to them. We have no power left. He's supposed to be this big football coach. He's teaching these young guys about discipline and self-discipline and doing the right thing. He's a hypocrite, man. We got the wrong people in power. They can't even follow their own instructions. You know, when I was talking about the other day, remember I was talking about that video I made the other day, and I was like talking about some guys have no business being over here. Well, my biggest hater who's watching me now, he watches all my live streams. He would comment in the comments if I wouldn't have already deleted him already. He's going to tell me, hey, you need to mind your business. Dude, you a hypocrite. You need to mind your own business. You've been minding my business ever since I've been on YouTube. Sending me videos over and he hasn't responded. Okay, that's how you hit back with these clowns. It's Sharon Moore. That's how they win. That's how they win here and in Brazil and everywhere else around the world. It's no fair playing field. Not if you don't have any self-discipline. He said, I don't agree with regular guy's commentary or his preference, but sometimes his videos can be entertaining. I like a lot of his videos, but like I said, this was on his live streams when he was talking about that, because somebody asked him about that. He was talking about, why aren't you getting the pushback for your white privilege attitude that the left, he said, why don't you think you're getting pushback from the left for your white privilege attitude? And he said, because it's the truth. And he started going on talking about why everybody's trying to migrate to the white countries. Yeah, because y'all stole every damn thing. Okay? That's why. It's not because y'all, and he said that the white man, this is his words, go back a couple of his live streams, it's not as greedy as everybody else. And I said to myself, that's when I cut it off with this guy. He's really lost me with this. What is he talking about? The white man isn't as greedy as everybody else. I guess he had been drinking. I don't know, but I don't have nothing against him. But, when you talk like that, I don't have to follow you. Well, it's not just in the Philippines. I just told you the story of Sharon Moore. Okay? He said, man, why guys whipped in the Philippines? I could never be a yes man to a little Filipino. Learn the word no. You can't say no when it's time for your baby needs diapers and milk queue. What are you talking about? Or when your wife wants something to eat, or the electric bill. Yeah, you say no to unreasonable requests. That's about it. But let's talk about a little bit about Manila. Some guy said, why don't you show us where the Thriller in Manila happened? Well, it happened in the Araneta Coliseum. That's about two and a half hours from me. And it's not the same Araneta Coliseum that they fought in, but that's where it happened. Yeah, he's whipped already. He done had the baby and everything. He's telling everybody what they shouldn't be doing. Okay? And everything that he's doing. I tell you what I've done. I've done everything I talk about. I made all the mistakes I talk about. I did it. But at some point, you got to wisen up. You can't remain stupid. At some point, the light comes on. I know some of you guys don't want the light to come on. It's easy to be dumb, deaf, dumb, and stupid. That's your excuse. I didn't know any better. Well, after a while, you'll know better, and you got to do better. Yeah, he says men don't have any power when it comes to breakups. We break our backs to support the family, then get screwed on the way out because we don't iron out anything in the beginning when things are good. Okay? When things are good, that's when you should be, okay, saying this, saying that. Okay? Let's make sure that when we do break up, it's going to be 50-50. Because at the end, it's going to be a bunch of lies, man. It's not going to be the truth. You know, Manziel is popping around on podcasts like a bunch of these other, um, you know, former athletes, washed up athletes who, wasted a bag. He was drafted in the first round. He left a lot of money on the table because he had no self-discipline. He said, you're right, Cal, you'll be going against our family, friends, and the court system. I think everyone should do it like you, Cal. There's really no need for marriage when you're in your fourth quarter. But, everybody's going to be the exception. This is why men won't listen, because you're not talking to them. You're talking to the other guy until it's them. What's up? What time is it, Travels? Yeah. The crazy thing about this was the girl wasn't even estranged. The wife and the mistress, the girl he's dealing with, they followed each other on social media. They knew about each other. But what I think is maybe when you're dealing with something like that, okay, he's on her payroll. She's on his payroll, on his staff. He done elevated her to the executive assistant now, right? She's got power now. She knows that she can get him fired. He done gave all the power to her. You fooling with the girl. You know it's against the woman. You know it's against university policy. And now you done lost everything. Now they got him in the psych ward in jail on suicide watch. Stupid, man. Yeah, you're the exception, Q. Yeah, but history matters, Bray. Whoever you are, he said nobody will agree with the opinions of others all the time. As far as who stole what from who, thieves come in every color. That's my opinion. Yeah, but history matters. Okay? He said the white man isn't as greedy. And everybody's coming to the white countries because only white people know how to create a good country. That's just not true. White people in America are not aboriginal to America. They came there and stole that land. Same with where he lives in Canada. Okay, that's facts. That's not opinion that you're talking about. It's not about opinion. We're talking about facts. Okay, and this is the reason why this stuff is going to keep going on and on and on because you have to understand that it's not based on opinion. You got to, here's the thing. Americans only make up about 4 to 5% of the Earth's population. But we control anywhere between 25 to 40% of the natural resources. The world trades with the US dollar. When are you guys going to wake up and see how much power America's got? And why people are really forced, they're compelled to come to America. And the closer you live to America, the worse they treat you. Cuba, Mexico, and our Central America. Okay? But y'all don't want to look at facts. All y'all do is listen to that foolishness. Yeah, they got the power. They got the power. But you got power too. We know that's college. That's college. W secret to success is a big deal. It's a big difference. I can name you a list of players who were superstars in college, never transitioned to the NFL. Yeah, drinking and all that stuff did work against him, but he was too small, man. He didn't have an arm that you need to make it in the NFL. The NFL is a whole different story. Some guys, look at Josh Allen. He wasn't all that good in college. Don't you know the reason they took Josh Allen? Because of his potential. He didn't win nothing in college, man. Don't mean nothing. He said we all made mistakes. The question is, are you learning from your mistakes? Are you doing the same dumb shit over and over again? Yeah, that's a good question. Some of us do learn from our mistakes. We learn from the mistakes of others. But some men don't learn at all. They'll look at me and say they don't want the information coming from me. You don't have to agree with what I'm saying. That's the problem. They think that they have to agree with me. No, just take what you like and leave the rest. If you think you can just come over here and bring your American attitude over here and you think that's all you need and your pension, then you're in big trouble. You're going to get blindsided. You're not going to make it over here. He said you can't say no when you have a woman and kids, even just having a girlfriend. But it's not a big deal as long as you set expectations from the start. You know, we're talking about unreasonable request. You can easily say no to unreasonable requests, Raymond. And also, it's easier to say no in the beginning. It's harder to say no the longer you've been together. And now you feel obligated. But we're not saying no in the beginning. That's the only time really you can justify saying no. Now you got a child with the woman. You've been with her for, 10 years or whatever it is. Y'all maybe even be married. You're living together. Well, you're looking like saying no. But if it's unreasonable, if Marilyn walked in here right now and said, hey, I need a 50, however much style, how many thousand pesos iPhone, I say, you crazy. That's not where our priorities are. We putting Shahara through college. Well, I look like buying you a 57,000 peso cell phone. No, it ain't history. It's all connected. It's all connected. It's all connected. Y'all think that we just wake up and the world has always been this way. No, it hasn't. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I never saw this in him before. I never saw this in him before. But it's okay if he wants to be that way. But it doesn't mean that I have to follow him and hang around with him and agree with him. But yeah, he's a grown man. He's got his views. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Kevin, for this. Perfect example. He won the Heisman Trophy, short career. It doesn't always transition. Johnny Manziel wasn't going to transition. They were shocked that he went that high. Yeah. Look at Brady, 7th round draft pick, right? Yeah, Josh Allen's a bad boy now. But I'm saying he wasn't this world beater. You got to understand that sometimes people misevaluate players like they did Lamar Jackson. It's just a bad evaluation. But some people are good at it. They can look at a guy like, okay, what's the guy who plucked Kurt Warner from the damn grocery store. And Trent Green and somebody else. This guy, is it Michael Martz? He knows talent. Okay, he can see it. Some people can see that stuff, but a lot of them can't. He said, I've seen plenty of dudes with big brains get wrecked by women. Yeah, this is what I'm saying. We're our worst enemy. We give all our power away. Now, here's this guy, this Sharon Moore. He's a big, powerful man in the Michigan organization. He's the coach. He's earning millions of dollars a year. And he just threw it all away, fooling with some young woman on the side. He gave her all his power. Lady, look, you're not going to, if anything, if I'm going to fool with you, now I'm going to fire you. You're going to have to, okay, if you want to fool with me, you know that it's going to cost me everything, because it's right here in black and white that if I fool with somebody on my staff, I'm going to lose everything. They got reason to fire me. Step to the side. If you're going to remain here, then I'm not fooling with you. He couldn't overcome it. Yeah, the American dream is built on blood, wars, and terror. But they don't want to hear that. He said Baker Mayfield had to change his attitude. But Shedeur Sanders doesn't have an attitude. The man is humble. Baker Mayfield ain't changed nothing. He's still brass. He's still, confident. That's what makes him Baker Mayfield. But it's okay for him to be that way. It's okay for Johnny Manziel to be that way. But Shedeur Sanders can show confidence. His players believe in him. You see how much better they're playing? These players look like different players now than they did when they had that damn Dylan Gabriel in there. And you're talking about, I'm not blaming Dylan Gabriel. Well, he shouldn't be out there. Somebody put him out there, and he's standing up in front of the cameras acting like he's a real NFL quarterback. Dude, you know you ain't no NFL quarterback. Talking crazy about Shedeur and all that stuff. He says, if you want to stand a chance with a woman, you have to act like you're not a pushy fanatic and act as if you can do without her, even if you want that thing real bad. Yeah, but we don't have to pretend. You got to be real. If you just, this is one of our problems. We pretend too much. If we use that same energy to actually do it and actually be it, because you can't pretend, because you're not, your enemy is not the woman, it's yourself. You're lying to yourself. See, Riggs? You really have to have that self-discipline. You can't lie to yourself. Yeah, absolutely. Now that, this booby situation is taken care of. Yeah, it does. But we got to be smart, okay, because that's only natural, Frank. But you got to, okay, remember self-preservation. You got to weigh it up, man. You got to say, okay, I want it, but is it going to be worth my job? I've got to be able to take care of myself, because this woman's not going to fool with him now. He's broke. That's the only reason why that young, attractive woman was dealing with him. Because he's this big, powerful man in the Michigan organization now, earning millions of dollars. Now he don't have nothing. How fast can you fall? Now he's in the damn jail on suicide watch. Crazy. Yeah, you could probably juice. He said, Coach Moore must be a damn fool to take such a risk like that. Punani is undefeated. I know it's hard, but you got to be disciplined. You could probably go back in his life somewhere and figure out what happened. You can't be that stupid. Yes, there's a great gospel song called "Hide Me." The enemy is the me. Yeah, he said, "Women are everything. Get your levels checked, bro. It's the reason why we do everything. Why we get the big house, car, and even travel to the Philippines." Well, see, you kind of got that backwards. Believe it or not, most men do stuff to impress other men. Q. That's why you get the nice car and the big rims and the jewelry and all that, the big house and all that. You're trying to impress other men. You ain't trying to impress women. He said, people come here and keep trying to reinvent themselves. You can't fake confidence. Women and the other people around you will see you for what you are and who you are. All you have to do anywhere is to understand your power. We all have power. And when you come over here, it's your money and it's your the opportunities that you represent, the visa, the new life, and all that. That's your power. You can't give it all away and then expect a woman to treat you the way you deserve to be treated, because now she's got all that power. She may not even be used to having all that power. Then you're going to corrupt her. Because I'm going to talk about in this next video, man, what some guys are going through. But y'all won't listen. He said, Cal, if he would have beat Ohio State, they wouldn't have fired him. Now, they will fire him. Okay, he was lucky to get that job from what I'm reading. He wasn't who they wanted. Okay? Yeah, we do a lot of stuff. All you got to do is look at these videos and you see guys trotting out these women and look at the condominium and look at me. I'm living over in Brazil. I'm living in Colombia, Philippines, or whatever. It's to impress other men. You're not doing that to impress women. This is something that your young man can't grasp. A lot of the stuff you're doing is not to impress the women. It's to impress the men, and you know that. When you go and get them new Jordans, you go to school and hang around your friends and be like, yeah, look what I got. You ain't going around no women doing that. He said confidence is attractive, Rich. Women gravitate to a confident man. And money's attractive too. Money's attractive too. But these guys who own her talking about they don't even want to pay child support and everything. Then they want to know, well, where's the money being spent and all of that. See, that's being weak, in my opinion. You know, once you pay that child support, it's no longer your money. You ain't got no say so about it. If you did, then don't have children. Stay married to the woman then. Stop putting your life in the hands of the system when you already know. Everybody on here knows, just like the guy said, Thomas said, we don't have any control during the breakup. We're going to get screwed no matter what we did prior to that. Okay, we all know that. Then why would we keep doing it? The same thing over and over, like Richie Rich said. That's insanity, is what that is. That's insanity. Doing the same thing over and over. Yeah, look at what I got. It's the Joneses. You ain't trying to impress no woman, man. The first thing you do when you get that new car is you ride around somewhere where them guys can see you. The woman's next. She's going to eventually, yeah. But you impress the men first with your nice clothes and stuff. Yeah, but this is where you got to weigh it up. You got to weigh it up. You got to say, is it worth it? Is it worth my job to sleep with this woman? Now I can't take care of myself. This man lost millions of dollars, man. Woman ain't worth that, man. And he's married already with 3 little kids. It's not even about him anymore. Now he's got a whole family he's got to support now. What's up, Ron? We know that, but that's a whole other story. What time it travels? We're just talking about if you're really honest about it, man. You're trying to impress the men. You're not impressing the damn women. He said child support is a must. The separation about you and her is not for her. It's about your child. That's right. But we'll make it about her. I don't want you spending, well, you should get a woman a better quality, a better character to begin with. That that's going to do the right thing with the child support. But we're worried about her spending it on other men and getting her hair done and nails done and all that. Well, what kind of woman would do that and neglect your child? If that's the case, then you at fault. But we're in a hurry. You got to slow down. Certainly over here. Certainly over here. No, I'm sorry, Q Dubs too. You don't understand what I'm saying. Psychologically, man, you know good and damn well you're not impressing these other men. You know good and well when you coming up and you get that car, you going around your friends first. You're not going around no women. Yeah, eventually you hope that that's going to attract a woman, but the reason you do this stuff, man, is to impress other men. I'm talking about what our actions say. Understand what psychologists say and all that other stuff. No, you ain't got to be no rainbow community, man. Who do you think watches NFL, Q? Do you think men, who watches the NFL more? Men or women? So who do you think those basketball players and football players are impressing? They're impressing men. But that's just how it is. But they can't see that. You know it's true. We're not telling you what the psychologists say and all that stuff. We're talking about what you really do, what your actions say you do. And you get that new house and all that. You calling up some man. You ain't calling your best friends, your family, somebody. Look at me. Yeah, but that's the particulars. The problem is, dude, you're married already. You got 3 kids. We're not judging. We're just saying, okay, this is what you weigh up. You, the coach of a major Power 5 school. You're earning millions of dollars. You signed a 5-year, $30 million contract. You're going to throw it all away for a side chick that you never should have been fooling with in the first place. This is what we're talking about. These are the particulars. He said, I think the girl he cheated with was pregnant with his child. That's why he threatened her. But he was fired before he even went to jail. He was fired before this even went down. They have been investigating him because when you put yourself in that situation, people are jealous of you, man. They're jealous of him. You never know who told on him. Somebody who wanted him fired from that job. Okay, Q, we're not going to argue about it. Okay, we can agree to disagree. We can agree. Well, he wasn't even really cheating. They knew about each other. He had that kind of power. But he gave it away. When you start fooling with a woman on your job. Now you can be blackmailed. Somebody's going to find out. Somebody's going to know. She's going to tell somebody. You're going to tell somebody. Okay, Q, if you say we're not trying to impress men, then why do we trot these women out? Oh, I got a 10. Look at what I got. Who are you doing that to? Other women or to impress another man? Okay? When you put these women on your channel and everything, you walking around the mall with a trophy wife, who's that to impress? Man, talk to me. You know good and damn well you impressing your friends and other men when you trot that woman out. When you walk to the mall with her, you got her in the car with you. You got the top down. Look at what I got, men. You impressing other men. You guys, man, y'all just won't admit it. Well, see, I don't live this way, Josh Lowell. Okay? I don't live hypothetically. I'm an insurance agent, so yeah, I look at things like that. He said, what would you do if the mother of your daughter died? Are you prepared for the worst? What do you mean? For the worst? I'm just going to have to take care of her. I mean, what would that? That's probably why you have two people in the family. Absolutely, I'm prepared. If I'm the provider already, she's at least going to be provided for. I don't understand that question. We're all going to die. This is what we're all in denial about. Sigmund Freud said that. Everybody's in denial about their own death. Even though we see people die around us every single day, on the news, in our family, our friends, you still don't think you're going to die. You never contemplate your own death. You just can't fathom the world going on without you. Well, it is. So you better live now. This is my message to guys. You better live now. You only come around this way one time. YOLO. Okay? He says, as a young man, we do try to impress others. As we mature, we start to prioritize and realize what really matters. Our wife, children, those special in our lives. Decisions have consequences. Yeah, but we still impress. We do that stuff to impress other men. Mostly. The nice car. Yeah, eventually you're going to use that to attract a woman. We're talking about impress. Is impress and attract are two different things, Q. You might want to look those words up. You're not trying to attract a man. You're trying to impress him. Look at me. I'm better than you. I'm an alpha. I got the car, the job, the money, the woman. Who do you think follows people like Andrew Tate, Kevin Samuels? Do you think women are following those guys? Yeah, we know it's true. We know it's true. We know it's true. Impress and attract are two different things. Q-dubs and Q in the Philippines. Y'all understand? Those are two different things. The nice looking wife you got, Q-dubs, and trust me, you know you take her around places, you impressing other men. Look at what I got. Look at my wife. Look at my car. Look at the job I've got. You're not trying to attract some man. Yeah, it would. It would. See, this is where choosing the right mate is very important, because the fruit doesn't fall too far from the tree. Okay, I've already vetted Maryland's family. Okay, if something were to happen to Maryland, I know her mother's going to be there. The kids are going to be okay. Nobody's going to try to step in and steal the property and sell it and run off with the money. I'm sorry, that's not going to happen. I'm going to be there. People over here they don't really, what's the word I really want to use? They're still human beings. They know what I represent in their family. Okay, nobody's going to come in there, hey, you got to leave. They wouldn't dare do that. They have too much respect for me. I'm going to still be there. Only thing's going to be different, Maryland won't be there. Okay? Okay, he says, hey, Cal, I'll be arriving in Manila for 30 days starting March 5th. What's a good base to stay at so I could travel to other cities? A lot of people like Makati. You know, it's not as expensive as BGC. I believe where Richie Rich lives, is that Mandaluyong Young? Or what, how you pronounce that, Richie Rich? Yeah, we're talking about something totally different. Yeah, but you got to understand, Q, impress and attract are two different things, man. You're not trying to attract men. You're trying to impress them. We're not going to keep going back and forth, man, over and over. If you can't see that, man, you're crazy. You do all that stuff. You look at my title. Look at my degrees. You're doing that to impress people, mostly other men. You're not. You do it also to attract a woman, but impress and attract are two different things. I'm not trying to attract no man. Absolutely. This is all I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. MJB and the P2B, but people don't really believe it. They think they're going to live to be 1,000. If you don't believe me, look how people act. That's all you got to do is watch people. They act like they're going to be here for 1,000 years. They always going to have time to forgive. They're always going to have time to do something that they've been putting off. You could be dead in the next 5 minutes. Okay, my buddy Jim Crane, man. My buddy John. My buddy Anthony in Bacolod. Gerard Black in the Philippines. Mark Thornton. These guys were living until they died. It wasn't like they were sitting back waiting to die. They were living until they died. Just like that. And the same thing's going to happen to us. Jim had just left the Philippines. He left the Philippines November the 12th. November 15th, he was dead. He didn't have a chance to make amends and all that stuff. You got to do it now. Boy, I was thinking the same thing, but not that I didn't want him there. I was thinking he's looking for a place to come back. This would be perfect for him. Yeah, I'm not saying don't floss. We're saying the reason we floss. It's not to impress women. We're impressing other men. You know, that's all I'm saying. I don't care what you do. Well, it's going to go in your wife's name. Your son is a minor. You can put him on there. Just like yesterday, we're at the embassy. Booby's got to take the DNA. She got the same form we've got. Well, when it came to time to sign, Merlin said, oh, she knows how to write her own name. The woman said, no, she's a minor. You got to sign that. Same thing, Q. You can put how's he going to sign the papers? Put it in your wife's name, man. It's your wife. It's not your girlfriend. No, but you know what I'm saying. The majority of your secrets of success of their followers and supporters are men. Their whole, um, I don't want to say, their whole movement is for men. They're not talking to women. So don't come on here with that, man. Okay? You know good and well what I'm saying. Oh, man, the Luyang. Okay, thank you, Rich. You know what I'm saying. Yes, you got my last name. That's why it's important to sign that birth certificate, Herc. That's the first step. Okay, is to get that NSO, that PSA birth certificate. You sign that. It takes a while. You go and apply for it, and then I guess it takes about a month or so. Took us. And it comes back. That's the first step. Hey, what's up, Kevin? Appreciate you, man. We just like to have, yeah, Cal, Deb, we just like to have the conversation. I'm just starting it. Yeah, John, well, like I said, these guys were living until they died. He said, this is off topic, but Amazon has free shipping on eligible products over $40.99. That's amazing. I had some appliances shipped and was happy there was no import or shipping fees. Yeah, and then you also have to order items that, like if you order like a computer, see, you're going to incur import, and custom fees. But for the most part, when I order from Amazon, you're right, 49, but it's like lotion, razors, different things like that, t-shirts, underwear. There's some stipulations, but yeah, it's good to know that. But we don't accept it. We don't accept it. Excuse me. But you're telling the truth. He said, does the Philippine embassy question mixed kids' Philippine identity over there with the paperwork? No, because just like I was telling Marilyn yesterday when we were filling out the form, she said, what do I put boobies, race? Is it American? No, she's Filipino because she's not officially American yet. They're Filipino until you give them, till you apply for the citizenship in your country, whatever country that is. If they're born over here, you say good luck with that wife stuff. That's on there too, because what I'm going to tell y'all is going to shock you. Is what happens a lot over here, whether it's good, whether the relationship is working good or it's bad. You know, but our focus is just, we've got a laser focus, but it's in the wrong place. Hey, what's up, Rashad? Thanks for that super chat. He said, Unc, you sold me. When I settle and get that dough, I'm coming to the Philippines before I go anywhere else. The latest bid on Filipinos Loving Brothers sold me. Oh, you mean the one about where I said why more black men are coming to the Philippines? But you heard when I interviewed Richie Rich and Chain, you heard what Chain said. When I said, why did you decide to date a black man? I mean, what thought process went into it? And she just said that mostly the men she was chatting with were black. And she said, we have a lot. It's what I said on my video long before I interviewed them. She said, we have a lot in common with black people. She was talking about the music and everything like that. She said, we're Filipino, but we're black in heart. This is what she said. I didn't say that. I just know that we do have a lot in common with them. They do, like our culture. And no matter what Filipinos think about black people, they don't hate us, man. There's a lot of pride over here. You should have pride in yourself, too. That's why I don't care about people, what they think about me, man. He said, hopefully T. Marsh leased the land and doesn't have to worry about being kicked out by a woman since everything would be in his name. Congrats. Yeah, that's what you think. But you never really own anything. Because once you die, okay, you can't take it with you. You don't own anything in America. The bank owns it. But we have this, infatuation, with fascination with owning stuff. Well, you don't own it. The bank owns it. Probably owns your car. I got smart on those cars. I started my last 4 or 5 cars, including the van I sold before I moved to the Philippines. I owned it. I paid cash for it. I stopped financing cars a long time ago. You get them cars, you try to impress people with them. That's why you buy them. You get too much car, for your money, man. I mean, you're spending too much money for your car. That's all I'm saying. We finance them cars, man. I've been gone. Q, you right. No, Rashad, you're right. I've been gone a long time from America for a lot of things. Certainly when it comes to these cars and trucks and how much they cost. Yeah, I'm way out of touch with that. Because when you see how much some of these trucks cost, somebody was doing it was a newscast I saw on YouTube where the guy was talking about new cars, the sales are down. And they were, these Jeeps, man, $81,000. I'm like, what? I said, no wonder why nobody's buying these things. I don't pay no $81,000 for a damn Jeep. Just a regular Jeep you see riding around town, 4-wheel drive and stuff like that. What's up, Paul? He says, it's booby official. Yeah. I mean, everything but, just the ink hasn't dried. When you take that DNA, they're not going to mess that up. And see, once they told me 4 to 6 weeks. See, once that comes back, it just kicks everything else into action. Hold on, guys. I got to plug my computer up because I got about 15 more minutes. See, if we would have missed our deadline, we would have had to start all over again. We'd have had to go through the CRBA process all over again. Okay? Knowing we're going to get turned down because we didn't have all the requirements. So it was very important that I beat that deadline, Paul, and which we did. So yeah, for all intents and purposes, yeah, she's official. Because they're not going to mess that up. Well, it's not just the Somalis, man. Why can we just agree that you can always nitpick, okay? What about the trillions of dollars for these bullshit ass wars that we fought in Iran and Iraq? All these, some of our best and brightest young men and women were killed over there. Traveling, dude. But it's easy for us to point at something like this. Now, I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's justified. What about the housing crisis in 2008? Okay, trillions of dollars. Nobody went to jail for that. See, we pick and choose who we want to blame. You can't blame the immigrants on the state of America, man. Y'all need to stop that. I won't justify that. Yeah, it's wrong. It's wrong. And if they did it, they'll pay. Hey, Rashad, thanks for that super chat. He said, Uncle, it was a vid with Mia from the Mia and Manami YouTube channel that sold me on a vid she was on. Okay, talking about Hulk Tour, amongst other things. Well, yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you. And Israel. Who do you think cheated the taxpayers out of more money, the Somalis or Israelis? Who, which one? Okay, traveling dude. But it's easy, okay, to put the blame because you're listening to the news. That mainstream media, man, it's commentary now. It's not news anymore. Okay, but like I said, Brian Nichols, what about the billions for Israel that doesn't benefit your ass at all? Okay? And that'd be the only dual citizenship. They talking about getting rid of dual citizenship. That's the only dual citizenship you got to worry that they don't have to worry about getting stripped from them. Okay? Like I said, the predatory lending, the housing crisis on Wall Street. And before the dust could even settle, they started doing the same thing over and over again. But it's easy to pick on immigrants and poor people and black people over there in America. We're always going to be the scapegoat. It's the people in power. Okay? But that's all y'all do is let people lead you around by your nose. And you can stay focused on whatever you want to stay focused on. He said, Cal better get that generator. He said, damn a car. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Right here. They go in office. They don't have a pot to piss in. They come out multimillionaires. Look at Obama. Okay, look at Obama. A community activist, man. He didn't come from money. Look at that. Oh, he wrote the books. Yeah. When he became famous, of course his books are gonna sell. You're the first what I want to say. You're the first person of color to sit in the Oval Office. If you just got a pair of Obama jeans, you see that old car he was driving, right? That sold for $100,000. Okay? I'm just saying, guys. He said, my guy, Coach Greg Adams, saying good things. You've been saying good things. Black Filipino, man, DR can wait. I love my Puerto Rican women and Dominican women, but I got to see that Panay life, Cal. Well, yeah, but I didn't say it, Q. He said, Unc, do you think the big one's really going to hit Manila? Yeah, they said that those plates haven't moved in 500 years, and when they shift, it's going to be catastrophic. You know, the experts said it. We're on the Pacific Ring of Fire. The Philippines is right on it. And when those, what they call them, tectonic plates sitting right on that fault line, when they shift, they haven't shifted in 500 years. It's coming, man. Yeah, he said the dealers hate it when you pay cash. They make their money financing. But actually, the dealers, they're going to get paid anyway. They don't get paid because the bank is going to finance it and pay the dealer. Either way it goes, the dealer gets his. Come on, man. And look, if you're going to start this foolishness, man, like I said, that you want to just pick out one specific incident and I guess blame it on all black people because that's what happens, traveling dude. I'll get rid of you. We don't want that on this channel, man. Okay? How many innocent black men were shot by these police out there? White policemen. Okay? I'm sorry. Do you want us to go all the way back to when they dropped atomic bombs on Nagasaki and Hiroshima? What about the reason we can't go down in Mindanao for real? Do you want to know why that is? Okay? Because thousands and thousands of innocent Filipino men, women, and children were killed by U.S. forces. 99.9% of them were white. Okay, that's facts. So don't come on here with that stuff, man. We don't need that stuff. This is what you're willing to do all of a sudden. I guess this is what you were working yourself up to. Because we all pay for that. All black people pay. If one black person does something, we all pay for it. It's not like you or other white people. It's an isolated event. Oh, he's crazy. But you don't understand that mental illness, the same man that killed that woman, and he's going to rot in jail, suffers from the same mental illness that you claimed all those white school shooters suffer from. So don't exempt them. Okay? They've killed hundreds of people. We're not justifying him. He should be raked across the coals, and he will be, for killing that woman. So don't come on here with that foolishness. Talking about a criminal black man. Like black people are the only ones creating crimes. But he didn't give us that. He was the president. Do you really think Barack Obama wrote that? Okay. Do you really think he did that? He didn't. He signed it into law. That's all he did. That's all presidents do. Those presidents aren't that intelligent. Some of them are more intelligent than others. But lobbyists, the Affordable Care Act, wrote that in that 1,000 pages. You think Obama did that? He didn't give us that. He wrote that. Yeah. The world needs God. We ain't even talk about that. Yeah, okay, but he didn't write that Affordable Care Act. I don't care how smart he is. Of course he's smart. He's very intelligent. But he didn't write the Affordable Care Act. Don't believe that. He's not that smart. Well, I came here, man. I was going to Mexico, Q, to be honest with you. But something just hit me, one day, because I've always wanted to come to the Philippines and Australia. And I'm eventually going to Perth, Australia. Because this is what people were beating in my head over and over when I was in the Navy. Perth, Australia, and the Philippines. And I wrote it down in my scrapbook. But I was sold on Mexico. I was going to Playa del Carmen. That's where I was going to retire. They treated us so well. When we went there, it was the second trip I won in my insurance career. 5 days and 4 nights, Playa del Carmen, the hotels right on the beach, all-inclusive resort. All you can eat, all you can drink. Of course, I don't drink. And the staff treated us, man, so nice. And I said, yeah, this is where I'm going to retire. But then I came over here. Yeah, see, they don't talk about this stuff right here. Because history don't matter, Paul, to a lot of people. Paolo Bunyan. Where they intentionally infected how many black men in that Tuskegee experiment? Our government intentionally infected, I believe it was 40 black men with syphilis, and then sit around and watch them like they were, you know, lab rats. I mean, they told them they were coming in for regular physicals, and they shot them up with syphilis and sat back and watched just to see what syphilis, you know, the effect it would have on men. This is the government that you guys brag about all the time. This is what I was telling Marilyn about. Don't be so happy that you can speak English. The only reason you speak English is because it was the law over here. And if you wanted to go to school, you had to learn English. Otherwise, you couldn't go to school in the Philippines. America did a job over here. They killed more Filipinos in the first 4 years of their occupation than the Spanish did in 350 years. That's facts. Okay? There's mass graves down in Mindanao, ladies and gentlemen. That's the reason they don't want you down there. On top of what the Spanish did. When they went in and sliced up all that land down there in Mindanao. People had kingdoms down there. They were living just fine and dandy till the Spanish came in. And they divided all that up. And people are still mad to this day, 500 years later. Okay, 126 years later, they're still mad about what America did down there. They gave an order to kill everybody 10 years over, 10 years and over. There's mass graves down there. It was so bad. Depending on who you want to listen to, between 600,000 and 1 million Filipinos were killed by us. They called it the Asian Holocaust. But y'all don't think history matters. Man, don't you realize that it shows you the beauty of Filipino people? That they would allow our rotten asses to even come over here right now. But y'all don't want to hear facts. History don't matter to y'all. You think it's always been that way. We did a job over here. You think that they don't even teach Filipinos that in school. They teach them about MacArthur when he came back and destroyed Manila just to get the Japanese out. It was basically you burn down a whole house to kill a roach. That's what they did. That's facts. Y'all don't care. Y'all don't read. You'll get on here talking in foolishness to me. Yeah, congratulations. Congratulations. But I don't care how good she is. Filipinos have amnesia. They'll catch amnesia. I'm going to talk about that on my video. I don't care how good she is, how much she respects you. They catch amnesia. Okay? Hey, what's up, Henry? Yeah, I'm pretty sure he does, but the point is, you're right. You're saying on the opposite. But he's going to get his money whether you pay cash or whether you go through the bank. It's the bank who finances it. It's only these buy here, pay here lots that, finance on the lot, and you'll be a damn fool. In the world, you're going to get all kinds of, what are you paying? What are they paying now in these, well, I'm going to be myself because the world evolves. It's always changing, Josh Lyle. He said, if you reincarnated, what race would you choose? Well, guess imagine, what about the Dark Ages over there in the 11th century when white people were literally living in caves and living like dogs, and the civilizations were in Africa and China? Would you want to be white then? Why do you think they sent Christopher Columbus out in search of a new world? Because their old world was crumbling. They were living in the Dark Ages, guys. This stuff is real. But you don't read. All you do is listen to what people tell you. Christopher Columbus didn't just get on a boat and start going around looking for a new world. Okay? You got to understand that. You know, that's like I said. I feel blessed to be born in the time I was in America. But if I'm the same person and you go back to 1850, I wouldn't be so happy to be born in America if the wheel of life would have stopped. Okay? Or, you know, at one time, you know, Britain was the superpower. Spain was a superpower. It just depends. You know, but right now, yeah, I guess they are. Because I don't watch his channel, I wouldn't know who they are. Well, look up amnesia. They're very forgetful of everything you do. Okay? They'll forget. I've got a story I'm going to tell you on that video where they forget. They forget. You know, they forget everything you've done. All the sacrifices you made. How you changed their life. They'll wake up one day and be like, oh, well, you know, you're supposed to do that. You know. You have to come over here and live over here for a considerable period of time to just appreciate what that visa really means. We throw it away like it's nothing. Just like me and Merle, we were talking about yesterday. The United States Embassy was full of Filipinos getting ready to have their life changed in one way or the other. Either work visa, you know, business visa, some type of K-1, spousal visa, fiance visa. There was nobody in there but Filipinos. But you have to come over here to see how big of a deal that really is. You don't think it's a big deal because visa's nothing to you. You can give it away 1,000 times if you wanted to. You don't understand the struggle over here for real. See? You have no idea what the real struggle is over here. You only think you're struggling. Okay? That's all. But we give it away what times it travels. So easy for a penny. You don't even realize what you're doing, the impact that you have. And then for some woman to turn around and do you bad, start treating you bad, or run off, okay? I do the stupid shit that they do, but we do the same thing. It's two sides of this, but I got to tell our side. You got to get a Filipino to tell their side. I'm going to tell our side. You know, imagine you going through all that, bringing her over to your country, giving her a new life. Do you realize what that really means? A new life, when you're not getting a new life. You're just getting a new woman. You're getting new problems. Okay, new stress is what you're getting. She's getting a new life. And then for her to run off or start giving you problems over there, listening to her friends and stuff. Go back and watch my video. I said, stop. Don't bring your Filipino girlfriend, wife to America. I'm not telling you not to do it. I'm advising you on what's going to happen when you get over there, the risk that you run when you take her over there. And the number one thing is when she starts making friends over there, other Filipino friends. Now all of a sudden you're not going to be good enough. They start comparing. They'll get back on the dating site, man, over there. Let me stop while I tell y'all my whole video. I'm going to let y'all have it because I told you. I already told you. I warned you. You know, then they will run off and, you know, see a lot of times, certainly if you're a black man over here, you got to really be careful because they'll marry you just so you can take her over there. Then they'll run off and get a white man. because that's who they really want. A lot of them do. This is what you got to understand. Or if you're a white man or a man in general, older man, they'll marry you and, and say, okay, we're going to get married. Take me to America or whatever. Then they're really looking for a younger man. But y'all don't want to listen because you got guys on here like him. Oh, I got a young woman who loves and appreciates me. How do you know? Merlin told you, like I told you. You're not going to know what you got until she's got what she wants. Then you're going to know what you got. Okay? But for us, we're too old, man. We don't have time for games. Y'all talk about the long game, the short game. I'm 62. I ain't got no time for no games. You go through all this stuff. You in your fourth quarter, and she's playing games. She's going to run off and do all this kind of stuff to you when you take her to your country. I ain't got time for that. But you're not going to know. Don't be bragging to me about what you got. You don't even know what you got. You ain't going to know what you got until she got what she wants. Until she's where she's trying to get to, because they all trying to get somewhere. They're not with you for your good looks and intelligence. I told you that already, but you don't believe it. Oh, he's so intelligent. Oh, his humor. I'm sick of the shit, man. Y'all ain't trying to listen, man. Y'all don't want no help. If you think about it, you really have to come into this. The reason I do the videos and tell y'all the stuff I tell you is so you can get into the mindset of not giving a damn, of knowing what you want. We worry too much about what she wants, what you want, and then you can sit back and be happy. Okay, you want to run off, you want to act crazy, okay, so what? I'm happy. But we go into it blind. You're not listening to anybody when they try to put you up on the game that's going on. But I gotta get up. I gotta get off here, man, because we gotta check out of here and move to. Let me see if the woman even contacted me. I'm gonna tell you on this next video. I'm taking the gloves off. Some of these women, man, will cause you all kind of problems because you're not getting to know them well enough. She's not where she wants to be yet. So you can't even evaluate her yet. You can only evaluate her once she reaches the level that she's trying to get to, because they all trying to get somewhere. You can't evaluate her from, oh, she's from the province, she's from a good family. You're not going to know. As long as she don't have nothing, that she's in no better condition than she was before she met you, yeah, she's going to bend over backwards and all that stuff. If all you're doing is dragging her around with you from place to place, but eventually she's going to be like, what's your plans for me? That's why you see these guys on these videos that got these women, all you're doing is dragging them around with you. And you claim you got a good woman because she's not going to show you who she really is, because you haven't given her nothing. You're just taking her to resorts and, oh, let's go to Thailand, let's go to Vietnam. Her life is no better. If you broke up with her, she goes back to the province or the squatters area. We're talking about real evaluation. Okay, that's what we're talking about. Y'all don't want to hear that though. So don't be bragging to me about what you got, because you don't know what you got. So thank y'all so much for your super chats, super stickers, all your thumbs up, all your support for Sunshine Shoulders. Thank you, Roger. I appreciate y'all, man. Look out for this next video and all my videos going forward. I kind of let down, man. Y'all don't realize what I was dealing with Booby. I'm fired up. I'm going to let you have it whether you want it or not. YouTube is going to ban me by the time I get done with y'all. Hey, I appreciate it. Thank y'all, man. I got to get off here because we got to get checked out. I appreciate y'all, man. Look for this next video. I'm taking the gloves off. Y'all gonna learn today.